Hello and welcome to Upstack America's Oracle EBS Financials Functional Training. My name is Bob and I'm the lead senior consultant for Upstack America. And with me today I have Victor, who is also a senior consultant. And this is lesson 17 of the fixed assets module. Victor, please walk us through.
Thank you, Bob, for the introduction, and welcome everybody to this lesson in our Financials Functional Training series. In this lesson, as Bob said, we are looking at lesson 17 of FA, and we are going to talk about mass addition. We have mentioned mass addition before, and it is one of the ways we can add assets to our books. Okay, we have already done asset addition the manual way. We have done quick additions and we have done the detailed additions. We also went past that. We've started running depreciation and creating accounting. Okay, but I want us to just go back now that we have a better understanding of assets. Now we go back and talk about mass addition. So mass addition allows us to add assets to our books from external sources. Okay, and we can do this from other modules of Oracle, such as payables and projects. Okay, so payables, when you purchase an asset, you can run mass additions. Okay, by entering invoices which have clearing accounts or even expensed accounts in their distribution lines. But in this case, we're going to be dealing only with capitalized assets. So we don't have Oracle projects, so we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on doing mass addition from payables. So in order to do this, you have to have a couple of things set up. Okay. So remember, we had, again, as I said, we are doing mass addition from payables. The scenario would be you have purchased an asset. Okay. And so when you're entering the invoice for that asset, because you're going to get an invoice from the vendor who has sold you the asset, you enter an invoice. Okay, and in that invoice you will enter some information about that asset. Okay, in that invoice also, one of the lines at least, if that invoice is the one you're going to refer to when you're doing mass addition, it must be an asset account in the segment values, account type. Okay, the account type, so you have asset, expense, liability, so on. It must be an asset account in the distribution. Okay, remember, in the distribution for the invoice is where we usually enter the expense account, for example. In our case, we have to make sure that this account referred to above is a clearing account defined for a particular asset category in our book. So remember, what is going to happen is we are entering an invoice. In that invoice, we are going to enter a distribution line, which is going to be a clearing account. That account, that invoice, once we create accounting for it and post it in GL, okay, is going to be used to create or to add an asset which is being purchased as shown by that invoice. Okay, so that clearing account has to be added for the category which that asset is going to be added to. Okay? And the reason why this must be the clearing account is, if we remember, I don't know why my slides are not moving. If we remember the asset purchase accounting, this is what we did, okay? So in the invoice, you enter the clearing account and the payables account. The payables is defaulted down from where? Supplier side down to the invoice. Asset clearing is the one which we enter in place of an expense account, okay, which we would normally enter for the other invoices which we have been entering. So we don't need to do a payment to run mass addition, but of course this slide shows the journal entries which will be created for the purchase in payables, for payables. So clearing and payables for the invoice, and for the payment, payables and cash. So that when we go now, when we post the mass additions, this is the journal entry which is going to be created. That is when the asset account will be debited, and now the clearing account will be credited, cancelling it out, going back to zero balance. So here we are crediting it 100, and here we are debiting 100. Okay. So let's go back to our prerequisites. So the account should be a clearing account, and it should be defined for an existing category. And then the payables and FA should point to the same ledger. Okay. Remember, you have to create accounting for the invoice, and make sure that you post that journal before you can start running mass addition. And as you can see, that is the next requirement. Invoice should be already posted in GL for you to run the create mass addition program, and for it to be effective, for you to be able to create mass additions. And the GL date on the invoice line distribution should be on or before the date when you create the mass addition program. So we're going to see about the GL date, and when we are running the create mass addition program, we should make sure that the GL date for this line distribution should be on or before the date for which we are running this create mass addition program. So those are just a few prerequisites for you to be able to do mass addition. So these are the steps we are going to follow to do our demonstration. We are going to start in payables, where we are going to enter an invoice. We're going to enter and validate the invoice. Okay. After that, we are going to create accounting so that we can create journal entries and send them to GL. Then we are going to post that journal that has been created for this particular invoice. And then now we are going to go to assets, where we are going to, sorry, I skipped up a step. After we create accounting and post that invoice in GL, we'll go back to payables and run this program, create mass additions. Okay. So now after we create mass additions, we are then going to go to assets. We are going to prepare mass additions, whereby we do a couple of steps. You can add some more information about the asset. And then after we prepare the mass addition, we are going to post mass additions. Okay, you're going to see that these two are requests that you submit. Actually, you can run it as a request set whereby the post mass additions, okay, is the request set whereby you will have the request to post, and you will have a report, okay, about the mass addition. But before that, what I did is I want us to create a new category, okay, which we are going to use for our example. So we are going to go to assets and create a new category. I already created the accounts in my value sets. That is a part that we are not going to do a demonstration for. You should already be very familiar with that. But remember, you need to create some accounts which you're going to use to define for this category we are creating for your particular corporate book. So we go to Oracle. Let me log out and log in using the correct username. So I want to go to fixed assets, and I want to go to setup and asset system, then asset categories. So I want to create a new category. I'm starting from here because we are dealing with fixed assets module. So this is why I want to focus mostly on the fixed asset portions. So the category I want to create will be earth moving equipment. Minor category is going to be tractor. That is the account I created. Tractor for construction. Okay. Now we want to define this category for a particular corporate book. Book or my book is Maskani asset cost account. This is one of the accounts you'll have to create in your value set. The natural account segment, I created mine. You can see it here. It's an asset type account, tractor, just the way we created trailer and cabinet. Can put it to that division. Asset clearing account, we are using a single asset clearing account, which is 1199. Depreciation expense account, we are also using a single depreciation expense account. It should be 5300. Accumulated depreciation. This is another account you will have to create for your tractor. Should also be an asset type account, though it's a contra asset. Tractor depreciation right there. The bonus expense and the bonus reserve, we said they default from depreciation expense and accumulated depreciation. And for the revaluation reserve, I'm going to use the same account as the accumulated depreciation. For the tractor. Let me change this to default. Okay, accumulated depreciation. So for the particular expense account, then you can specify these details. Anyway, these are trivial details. Don't mind this. Pay attention to the main concept. So after that, of course, we know for the category we need to define default rules. Okay, we are going to stick with our straight line. Tractors, I don't know, maybe give it 7 years. Prorate convention, we're going to use Maskani, and the same is entered as the retirement convention. Looks like we are good here, and we can save our work. This page gives me a problem scrolling. So we have a new category. It's good practice. Remember how to add categories and all that, and the accounts that we need. So before you do that, remember you need to define those, to enter those accounts, the natural account segment values in your value set for that particular category. So let's go back to our slides. Now we can start these steps. We're going to enter the invoice showing the purchase of this particular asset. Okay. And then after that, we're going to create accounting. Then we're going to post that particular journal. Then we'll go back and run this program. Then after that, we'll go to fixed assets, where we'll prepare mass additions, where you can add more information about the asset. Okay. When you go to this page, you will find the mass additions that have been created from running this program based on the invoices that have what? That have those asset clearing accounts in the distribution. Okay. Then after you make some more changes to those mass additions, you can go and now post them. So let's go and enter an invoice real fast. Payables. So I'm going to Maskani tractor purchase. So big builders, my supplier for invoice data will use system date, invoice number BBB 2005. How much does a tractor cost? $10,000. Payment terms. Let's use Maskani Net 30. We're going to pay by check. And I believe that's all we need to enter here. Let's go and confirm that the information here held, which it did not. Save again. So it should be good. Let's go to the line. So remember our prerequisites. The invoice distribution line must be an asset account, and that account should be a clearing account for an existing category. So amount is 10,000. This is our line, of course. So we need to enter, we can enter here tractor, that's enough. Then at the distribution account, now just one thing, an issue that I encountered myself. You might want to go and check your subledger accounting method and your account derivation rules, okay, for the expense, the item expense line. We might have, if you are following what we are doing in SLA module, perhaps you might have changed the rules there. You need this when you create accounting to give you the clearing account that you're going to enter here. So just make sure you are going to get the right account by checking your derivation rules for the expense item, if you had made changes to it when working on SLA module. So the distribution account that I want to enter here is going to be what? Asset clearing. Why asset clearing? We are entering this. This is what we are entering, the invoice. So we are debiting the asset clearing and we're crediting liability or pay account, okay? Or payables account. The distribution account is the one that gets debited. The payables account defaults down from the site, or according to the derivation rules that you may have defined. So here I can enter that this belongs to a particular division. So there's a button here, the track as asset check, that you can check here But when the distribution account that you have entered in the line is already an asset account, it's not compulsory to check that. Okay. You can further go and enter more information about this asset. Our asset book is going to be what? Maskani Corporate. Okay. Because our AP and FA, they point to the same ledger. Okay, so this link can be established. You can also predefine the asset category. Here, the flex field is shared here, so it belongs to the asset module. So we know this is going to the earth moving equipment, and the category is tractor. Okay. So that's some of the information that you can enter in the invoice at the line level. So we can go ahead and post this invoice, or save, not post. Let me save. Now the other thing we need to do is validate this invoice. We need to validate it so that we can be able to create accounting for it. So it's been validated. Status has changed here. Let's create accounting in draft first and see what we will get. Okay. We want to create accounting here in draft, see what we get. If we like what we see, then we can create accounting in final mode and post in general ledger. So I'm going to create accounting in draft. Select OK. We can go to tools and view accounting events. So this is the journal entry that's going to be created if we create accounting and send into GL. Okay, so that's good. That's the liability account. The expense account, we have entered the clearing account. Okay, so this is this here. Okay, this invoice part is what we are looking at here. All right, so this is the clearing account. It's been debited, and the payables account, the liability account, has been credited, which is exactly what we did here. Liability credited, asset clearing debited. So this is good. Now we can create accounting in final mode and post this to GL. I'm going to run the program because we've had problems doing it online from the page. Let me just submit the request. Create accounting owned by SLA module. The ledger is Maskani Group US ledger. End date, let's put this as today. I was just thinking that we did not check the GL date, but it should be the system date on the distribution line. So final, let's do a detailed report. Transfer to GL, yes. And we can say Maskani asset purchase. Although we are doing, we're creating accounting for any transaction. So, okay. Submit. No. Let's quickly look at our invoice. I want to so the GL date is here, 15th February, so that's fine. And we're going to make sure when we are running the create mass additions, the date is this. So we need to wait for this to finish. After this finishes, we go to GL, we look at the journal, and then we post it. So let's switch responsibility. Completed with a warning. Okay. Just one journal. That should be our journal. Let's see whether the journal was imported. Then we can work from there. Source should be coming from payables. Okay, so we have it here, Maskani asset purchase. Let's review the journal. Looks fine to me. Debit asset clearing. This is residential here, but it's fine. Maybe it's from those account derivation rules that we defined. Okay. So we can post this journal again because it has to be posted before we can do the mass additions. So let's post the journal. I expect the journal to post without any issues. Posting is complete. So now we are here. We have created accounting within the journal and posted it. So we need to run this create mass additions program while still in payables. And then now we can move to fixed assets. So I'm going to switch and go to payables, other requests, run, single request, create. Mass additions, create. There's this one for the report, and there's this mass additions, create. This is what we need to run. Enter value for GL date parameter. So they are not brought up the parameters window. So GL date. So we need to make sure that this is on the 15th also. Okay. And of course, we are running this for Maskani corporate book. Those are the only parameters that you need to enter. Okay. Submit. Submit another request. No. So let's wait for this to complete. In the meantime, we can go to fixed assets manager. Mass additions complete. Okay. Now the next step is in fixed assets, we go to this prepare mass additions option. So go to mass additions, prepare mass additions. So here you have to enter the book. Click on find. So you can see this mass addition was created from that program that we just ran. You can see the invoice number here, the one we entered for the invoice we created purchasing that tractor. It tells you the line, the distribution line, how many they are. Okay. So what we are going to do, we are going to open this. You can see some more information is added here also. Category which we entered in the line. You can enter some more info about the asset, such as location, from the location flex field, which is compulsory. So we want this tractor to go to Florida. Miami. Okay. Under asset details, you can add these details about the asset, tag number, serial number, the kind of information you enter when you're doing the manual additions. Okay. You also have to enter the asset key, which is one of the flex fields. So you can see how mass additions works, okay? Now, in the case where you had many lines, all right, entered with this distribution account, this clearing account, this will come in very handy, okay? Because you can just run that program and all those mass additions will come here. You can enter bit more information about the assets, and then post the mass additions, and the assets will be added to your corporate book. Okay. Is there anything else you can enter here? You can say some comments. Tractor. Okay. Now, there's this field here that says Q. Okay. The next step from here is to go and post these mass additions. Now, in order to be able to post this mass addition, the queue has to be set to post. Okay. And you can see once you do that, it will show you now all the compulsory fields that you haven't entered, so that this can be ready to be posted. Expense account. This is also information you enter when you're adding an asset through the manual addition. Okay. There's no other compulsory field. Now we can say we are done and select done here. Okay. So the next step is to post mass additions, and for that we come here to post mass additions. Like I said, this is a request set that contains the posting report and the posting program itself. So come here to parameters. You need to enter your book. And of course, the report is going to be for your book too. And with that, you can submit this request. Now we can wait for the results. And it has completed normally with no errors. The report will tell you the assets which have been added. It will give you the number, the account, the cost. There's some comments about it. Okay. We can go to assets, asset workbench. Let's enter our book here, or my book, Maskani Corp Find. And now you can see that the tractor has been added to among our assets. Okay. And you can see the information here about it. So mass addition comes in handy. Okay. When you're entering information from external sources, such as you have seen payables, You have many lines that point to the purchase of an asset. If you just follow those steps and make sure that the distribution account is a clearing account, you can create mass additions and add multiple assets together at the same together to your corporate book. Okay. So that's just a quick introduction on mass addition and what we wanted to cover for this lesson. So Bob, unless you have something to add, we can end there.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you.